Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's been clearly established here so far that I don't think there's anyone in the room that would not acknowledge that there at least have been instances, and as you have brought up, in the thousands perhaps. In fact, certainly over the course of time, we have examples from North Carolina and Minnesota, extensively so. We all know that there have been problems of voter fraud. We also know that federal law authorizes the Department of Justice to prosecute non-citizens for both registering and voting. This is a criminal offense, as has just been mentioned, can result in removal from the country. My first question to each of you, do you know, to the best of your knowledge, of any example where the Department of Justice has, in fact, brought charges against anyone or deported them?
I do not, sir.
I know of examples in the prior administration. I cannot think of anyone of an alien voting in this administration where charges have been brought against that alien for voting.
I have to agree with Secretary Kobach. I know of instances during the prior administration where individuals were not only prosecuted by the Justice Department, but this was considered in their citizenship applications. But as I pointed out, I'm not aware of that being done in this administration, and I know from personal knowledge that of almost 300 individuals that Fairfax County sent over to the Justice Department, notifying them that these were not U.S. citizens, that they had registered, and that almost half of them had voted. That fell into a black hole at the Justice Department. They did nothing to investigate or prosecute those cases, and I don't believe that any of those non-citizens had any of the penalties brought up against them that could have allowed their removal from the country. In fact, I cite in my written testimony a letter published by a county election official in Tennessee that she got from a non-citizen. He had gotten this from DHS, and it was a letter. This person was applying for citizenship, and this was a letter telling him that he needed to be sure that he was taken off the local voter registration list. So they clearly weren't going to punish him or in any way delay his citizenship. They just told him, well, to go forward with your citizenship application, you need to be sure you're off the list.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dunlap.
I do not know of any such action in my state, sir, but I also stated earlier that we have never had a complaint of such action either.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
All right. So what we have here evidently is, at least within this administration, we have no examples that we have any knowledge of where the law in this regard has been upheld by the Justice Department. So we have evidently a Justice Department unwilling to abide by the law, which of course is what we're seeing across the board, even with in so many instances right now. And if the rule of law is not going to be upheld, it's of very little value at all to any of us. Now, it's also been brought up that the motor voter law, as is known, where individuals are given the opportunity to register to vote when they get their driver's license, is posing a significant problem, as you have mentioned. And from what we hear from multiple DMVs across the country, they don't believe it's their responsibility to find out whether or not these individuals are citizens of the United States or not. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I would say that those states that are fully complying with the Real ID Act of 2005, they are at least trying to ascertain whether or not the person is a citizen who is a U.S. citizen or is an alien here lawfully present. But it's at the later stage of the process where they ask that final question, and would you like to register to vote? Even in fully compliant Real ID states, they're not going back and checking, hey, wait a minute, I have to check your citizenship.
But at some point, someone's got to be responsible. It's either the state or the federal government. Someone has got to do, real quickly, almost yes or no answer, is the DHS trustworthy? Do states believe that they can trust the DHS to give this information?
we have asked DHS for a lot of information and it has not been forthcoming from DHS. And in the one program that they do make available, SAVE, which was created in the 90s for state governments to use, they make that virtually impossible to use. They say, well, we won't let you check those names unless you can give us an independent number associated with that alien. Virtually impossible for the state to do. So
we've got an enormous problem here, obviously, and it's only getting bigger. The President's actions to grant de facto amnesty to 5 million is just exasperating an already existing problem. And I think Congress should look for solutions to prevent non-citizens from diluting the ballots of citizens in this country. Thank you.